SJ, welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. SJ, Stongo, Gary 5, Jaho Jeff Giddos, Mvskoke Radio, Mabo Wedget Wedgkis. Welcome to this cloudy and windy day in Okmulgee. We've got a couple things nailed down, so we will finish this show and not get blown away. First of all, we want to say that moment of silence was brought to you by Mvskoke Radio and Mvskoke Media. Okay, well, let's get to business here. First of all, we've got a couple things we'll be sharing this morning. We have our old buddy Jason Salzman, a former journalist turned evil side. And later on, we'll be talking to Luann Bear about the upcoming Mvskoke royalty program. Any changes? How's it going? How's it been developing? First of all, 2,000 Mados to our buddy Jason for coming in on today. God, you've been busy these days, huh?
Yes, I have, Gary. Mado, for having me. So glad to be here back with you again. Do a great job here on the radio program, keeping citizens informed and having some great content. I've listened to some really good stuff lately and putting out some fantastic information and really just making it an entertaining program too. So you do a great job. And yes, I have been busy. It's been a lot going on at the same time, which is it's not an ideal situation, but it's a situation that you deal with and get through and do one thing at a time. And so we're doing the best we can.
Okay, well, the one thing that we want to talk about right now is the new construction that's been going on. The tribe has been moving ahead by leaps and bounds. We've got all these kind of new stuff coming up, new projects, new economic foundations. And you just cut the ribbon on the safety and
safe space facility.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's start there. And once you explain what does that mean?
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people hear safe space facility. That's very open-ended. Is it a huge storm shelter? Is it a bunker? Something like that. But what COVID-19 and this pandemic has done to us at the tribe and the administration specifically is forced us to think about how do we operate going forward? How do we look as a tribe? Old hat is no more. We don't want to be status quo, but we also have been forced to do things differently because of this pandemic. Can we distance people? Can we make it to where if this happens again, God forbid, please don't ever let this happen again, but if this happens again, and it can, absolutely can, we've seen that we weren't prepared. Nobody was, not in the world. The globe was not prepared for the global pandemic. So we've got to look at everything. And so when we got the historic awarding of the CARES Act funding, immediately we started thinking, how can we spend this gigantic amount of money in this very small window of time, less than 6 months? And what are some of the projects that we absolutely need to fortify us, but also get some very much needed room and space for a lot of our departments that are taxed with not very good infrastructure? So we started developing, a plan around what are the departments we can identify that need the most space? And we started thinking high traffic places, social services, school clothing program, TANF, all of those departments. And we said, man, they have a lot of people coming through and they need more space. They don't have adequate facility. A lot of that will come in when we start looking at the master plan and doing a lot more renovations and upgrades to the complex as a whole. But for right now, how can we get these departments some relief and get them the space that they need? Also, the space that they need to socially distanced, maintained, barriers and things like that, so our citizens and our employees can be safe in a work environment that is high traffic.
Well, let me jump in right there. And you mentioned a couple of key points there. I think that we might want to spend a little more time. Yeah. First of all, safety. COVID, bang. My hat's off to the chief for coming to work, a brand new job, and ta-da, here we go. So we've got high traffic departments, people, lots of direct services to citizens.
Yes.
And then we have this need for the COVID restrictions, masks. People have to deal with that,
Right.
but at least we can look at social distancing, protections for our crew. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now these are the things that immediately leap to the top of my head when you began.
Yeah.
So, first of all, these were major considerations in discussions.
Major considerations. I mean, the employee safety was always at the height of the priority list with Chief Hill and Second Chief Beaver. When we first found out about the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the first conversations that we were having were, who do we need to get home, and who do we need to get isolated, and who do we need to get separated, and have safety as the number one priority and number one goal. Who are our most vulnerable at-risk employees? And if you go back and look at the timeline, those decisions happened that will back up that claim of how much it was prioritized about the employees, and as well as the employees at our gaming facilities. You know, gaming had to be shut down, and not only were we thinking about the safety there, but also the employees were a high priority with, hey, let's make sure that they don't lose their livelihood just because we had to shut down the center. Mm-hmm. So that's always been at the forefront, Gary, the safety and making sure that employees were good, but also citizens. Like we said, it's a high traffic area. We are closed to the public right now in our lobby areas, but we're not always going to be closed to the public. In fact, the day is coming when we'll be very, very soon, we'll be getting a chance to get back to more normal, I guess you could say, with our operations. But until that day comes, we need to make sure that everything's in place to make sure that the employees are good, but also the citizens coming in. So that's why we've done these the way that we've done the safe space facility with the barriers and the 64 cubicle spaces and 20,000 plus square foot. It's a big space, but there's things in it that are specifically designed for minimal human interaction as much as possible. We've got the glass, partitions up in the waiting area. We've got the glass up in the lobby area where an individual that comes for services can go to each station and be properly directed to what they need that day. And this also helps us fortify a lot of problems with a lot of our services. We hear citizens say, oh, I went and I didn't know where to go, and it wasn't structured, there was no streamlining. We're taking care of that with this too. So
okay, well, let's expound on this just a second. Let's describe the facility, its location, the amenities meant for the public, our citizens coming, parking lots, and sort of thing. Okay, where are we located?
We're located right adjacent to the Mvskoke Dome on the Claude Cox Omniplex. Basically, as most people know, where we have the festival. It's right there. You can't miss the safe space facility. We have signage now that directs you back into the back. If most people that are familiar with the Claude Cox Omniplex, there is a massive paved parking lot. That parking lot will be used for the safe space facility. So we're going to have plenty of parking. Again, as I said, this is a high traffic place where a lot of departments that are in high demand will be located. So we definitely wanted to have adequate parking, and that seemed like a great space for it right there. And like I said, right here in Okmulgee, centrally located in our capital city. Most people know where the Omniplex is. Mm-hmm. If you don't, it's right off 75 behind the Rodeo Arena and Travel Plaza. And I dare say you can't miss the Big Dome. So you see the Big Dome, and it was a snow globe recently, but you see the Big Dome, and it's right there back behind it. We're very proud of it. It went up Gary, we went from shovel to scissors in just a little over 6 months.
That's amazing. Now, when we describe the spot, that's what comes to my mind is where they used to set off the fireworks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much where it's at. Yeah.
All right.
So no fireworks. No, we'll get something figured out. The kids love the fireworks.
Okay, but the festival space up front is still intact.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things this also will allow us to do is have some space during the festival. You know how hot it gets out there, and for people to duck in and maybe get some refreshment or cool off, and that's another part of safety. So it can get very, very hot during the festival, and we have had people that have suffered heat stroke and things like that. So, this is just another thing that will check that box as well. So, a very eclectic facility this shall be. So, we're excited about it.
Well, it sounds like it's certainly designed to meet the need.
Yeah.
What kind of money are we talking about, and where did that fund come from?
It came from the CARES Act. So this wasn't any tribal funds at all. This came from the historic awarding of the CARES Act funding. So, I don't know the exact figure on this building. I could find that out for you, though, Gary, and you're a good journalist. You could probably find that out.
Oh, yeah, I'll sneak around
make
and come
a few
up
calls.
with it.
Yeah. And I think, it's every cent that went into it, like you said, there was a reason. There had to have been, justifiable for us, every part of it. So, and with the CARES Act fund, not a lot of people realize, or maybe didn't realize when it was first announced, there had to be an accounting and an explanation and a justification for every cent of $300 million. So, when you talk about federal funding, you also talk about what comes with that, which, is the scrutiny and the justifications. Like I said, the
federal bucks, federal rules.
Federal bucks, federal rules, and you got to play by it. And we certainly enjoyed getting that a massive amount and being able to build some infrastructure and respond to COVID and do things wonderfully like that. But at the same time, audits come and you got to be prepared, and you got to make sure that you have everything done right on your end. Everybody's looking at Mvskoke Creek Nation right now. The last thing we need is that we don't know how to keep our house in order and make sure that we're, being good stewards of federal money, things like that. We were very serious and very concerned about that.
The amount there, 300 million, isn't something like that?
312.
That is a massive grant. So it made a lot of things possible. I presume one of the priorities would be the comfort of citizens and people who need to come there and use it.
Sure.
So that's part of what went into your plan.
Yeah,
You mentioned a lot of spaces.
That's another thing. As part of the CARES funding, so we took care of some infrastructure. We did a safe space facility that, everything that we've discussed here, that took care of a lot of those needs. We also did the PPE warehouse, which will be finished soon as well. And you can see it right there on the industrial park, right off of 75 Highway. You cannot miss it. It is a huge facility. That's going to allow us to properly store our PPE, but it'll also have some space in there. One day we may not need to hoard boxes of masks. Right. Just picture that utopia, right? And so if that day comes where we don't need to, have a huge stockpile of PPE ready to rock, that building can then, we can look at what we're going to do there and have an incredibly big space that will be utilized by the tribe, which a lot of our problems and a lot of the reasons that we're taking a hard look at the master plan and doing a lot of things that we are, and that the same reason that previous administrations have done the same thing, is because we've got a space problem in Mvskoke Creek Nation, right? We've got a lot of departments that are cramped. Mvskoke Media can certainly attest to that.
Yeah,
I've been there before.
Tin can for a while.
Absolutely, I've been there before. We need a lot of infrastructure. We need a lot of newness and things to be updated. God bless it, the McCombs building is part of our Creek history. Everybody that knows Creek Nation knows that building that you come into, that main building there with the design and everything like that. But the reality of it is that's pretty old design at this point. So we're wanting to take a hard look at everything and make sure that not only are we creating needed space, but we're also kind of getting into the 21st century with our look. As I said, everybody's looking at Mvskoke Creek Nation. We want to appear as modern and as with the times, and with certainly put our best foot forward with our complex and everything like that. So that's a huge part of it, and also taking care of a lot of things on the CARES Act end, doing that, but also setting aside direct assistance. That was a big thing for us, is to be able to say, hey, look, over a third of this whole fund went to direct assistance in some way to citizens, directly to citizens. So to say that amount, we're talking several millions of dollars went directly for that. That's been a point of pride as well. So it's been a little bit of building, and it's been a little bit of emergency, right now, real-time assistance for citizens.
For those folks who might still have it in their mind, this is some kind of tornado shelter or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that function built into that? Is it something you really hadn't included?
I believe that there is a space inside that could be used as a safe room sort of deal. I don't know that the entire structure is built for that, but there is a safe room inside, which is, they've built. In Oklahoma, I think just about every construction you have to make these days needs to have some sort of facility somewhere in that regard. So yeah, that's been accounted for.
And it's going to be limited in the capacity, I presume.
Yeah, that's one of the things too, is that this building is all about safe space and distancing, and so. As far as the actual capacity number, that's probably still being discussed as they're talking about moving people in there and getting different departments in there. They have, identified the departments, as I said, but there's still a couple of things to cross off the list before they can actually give a capacity number. But I do know that a lot more people that access those departments are going to be a lot happier about their experience than going over to the trailer houses to go over for school clothing or social services. Those people in those departments have been some real troopers, and to get them to a place now to where, like I said, they're going to have everything they need. We're just excited about that, and excited for them and the tax commission as well. High traffic area.
I remember going into that trailer there for the social services thing and thinking, my God, how can these people stand this?
Yeah.
And it was just beginning of July. I'm thinking, I do not want to be here in August. Now, we've mentioned a couple of things already. Now, can you refresh me here on which departments will actually be physically moving into that facility?
Yeah, so we got social services that we just spoke of. We've got the school clothing program, which is another high traffic. And a lot of people don't realize that one's all throughout the year. You think school clothing, they just get busy around August or so. No, you got to get receipts in, and they're getting compliance done all throughout the year. So school clothing, social services, TANF, our temporary assistance for needy families, the tax commission, all of those are going to be in that building.
Okay. And access will be open to our tribal members about when?
What's that?
Our citizens can go in for services at that building. When is it going to be up and running?
Well, we're hoping in the next month or so we'll be back to normal as far as our lobby areas and everything like that, and everything won't be so virtual. So we're getting back to employees coming back on a more regular basis and no more telework. And as we get everybody vaccinated and everything like that, we're moving right along. Today we had another day of over 90 people tested and 0 positive cases in any of our facilities. Yes, absolutely. And we're getting people vaccinated. We went over the 20,000 mark on our vaccinations, which is phenomenal, and we've done a great job. And so with all of those things and those steps being taken and things being hit, we're looking at, within the month of really rolling back and having a lot of announcement out about kind of getting back to normal.
Sure. Well, let us know and we'll spread the word.
Absolutely.
I recently had my second shot. I went over.
That's great. I was going to ask you if you've been vaccinated.
Yes, and I was impressed with their operation.
Did you get a sticker?
No, but I got a Band-Aid.
Okay, well, hey, that's the same thing. A functional sticker. How about that?
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. But, I did feel a lot more, I think, relaxed and confident after that second shot, thinking, okay, well, we're doing everything we can.
Yeah.
And I got a pat on the back to that crew out there. I mean, it was so well organized, and people, you walk in the door and there's someone to greet you, meet your needs, and then put you into the lineup.
That's right.
Which wasn't really that long.
No.
So it was good to see them happening, and The staff was friendly and supportive. They understood why we were there, and they could spot people who had concerns.
Yeah.
And talk to them and kind of gently walk them through it. So that was really nice to.
What was your experience like with the vaccinations? Did you have any effects or anything like that?
No. The only effects is the ones I just told you.
Yeah.
I was glad that it was done.
Yeah.
Naturally you get poked in the arm and it might be a little sore for a bit, but that was it.
Yeah. Good. Fantastic.
I've not been aware of anyone who's actually had any reactions to it, so it's good to see the tribe doing such a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And the citizens coming in were supportive.
Yeah.
I listened to a couple of people, and they were so glad that they could get this done. And then you hear the news reports of people lined up on a block. God, we're so much happier in this operation here. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Now we have been aware of all this wonderful stuff happening in the midst of this COVID, and there's still crews out there working and getting this thing put up and things. Can you fill me in a little bit on the facility that's going up in the industrial park?
Yeah, that's the PPE warehouse, and it's scheduled for completion here very soon. It'll be the next one that we, probably in the next couple of weeks, that we sort of ribbon cut on and have a nice ceremony to open it up. It's going to alleviate a lot of our concerns of space, storage, just general storage, if you will. We've got some spots in our health system that we do have PPE inventoried and everything like that, but we could use a whole lot more space, and this will be a wonderful opportunity for us to access that for not just that. Like I said, one day, maybe we won't need as many masks. Hopefully, I don't like masks. I don't like to cover up this moneymaker of mine.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm allergic or something. I get a little bit of acne coming in. Yeah. But the PPE actually has a multi-purpose function. Yeah. I mean, it could have been used during Ebola.
Sure.
Of course, the flu season.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but we'll always need some sort of protection of disease and sickness and everything like that. We've always known that. There's no reason to think that it won't continue, and so we want to be prepared. We want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence at the tribe and make sure that that's good to go. But yeah, in the next couple of weeks, we'll have some information on that, and we'll be opening that and excited to do so. And then after that, it'll be the meat processing facility, USDA inspected facility. We'll be able to do beef, pork, and exotics, and we're going to have a retail space there at the front of it where people can buy and buy their meats, various other things, sauces, what have you, and people will be able to bring in like I said, they'll be able to bring. Man, I thought we had like a giddy up
poltergeist.
Yeah, what do you call it? A fireside song.
Huddly hussy.
Yeah, right. So we're excited about that because it's not only that's an economic development driver right there off 75.
That's up in Duck Creek. Right?
Yes, sir. Right there south of the Duck Creek casino and right near the community.
Now that will be able to process the livestock that our citizens are raising,
sure.
Help and cater to the ranches in the area.
Absolutely.
And one thing that I really felt was really cool was process your deer.
Yeah, process the deer. And not a lot of facilities will allow deer and pork and beef to be in the same sort of spot. So they definitely designed this one for that. And people are going to bring in venison, and we're excited to be able to provide that because that's going to be a very big feather in our cap in this area. A lot of deer hunters around here, a lot of people that have to go to Clear to McAllister. I know I get deer processed at K's, and that's all the way down there. And so, you talk about and just making it easier for folks in the area. And like I said, we've got a lot of deer woods around here. So I expect that there's going to be high traffic at the Loop Square Meat Company. We're excited.
Well, I'm hoping to be part of that traffic. But the last couple of seasons have skunked me. So. Yeah,
well, you stop in on the way home from work. That's right on your way. You can get you a steak and you go home, and that'll be dinner.
Yeah. No, but I was keep thinking, I want to find something where I can bring it in. It's mine.
There you go. Yeah.
Got a lot of bullets I haven't used
You
yet.
have
So.
you got plenty of ammunition and plenty of appetite, so
Yeah.
you'll be ready to go.
You know, I saw a deer behind the Arby's in Glenpool once.
Really?
6-pointer. I
Wow.
thought about, if I've got a big enough knife in my pocket here.
Maybe I can chase him down.
Yeah.
Well, Arby's did. They did venison. They tried it there for a second. I mean, I'm not going to eat Arby's venison, but nothing against Arby's, but I'd rather just like you. I'd rather shoot my deer, process my deer, eat my deer.
Chili.
The ultimate farm to table right there. Right?
You go.
You bet.
Now, we've been encouraged by the news we've been getting about staffing patterns returning to normal.
Yes.
Now, what's the latest word? When will our staff, our employees, fully return to work?
Are you talking to you or Mvskoke Media or
well,
all?
Us too, I guess.
Yeah. That's a little bit different for us with the independent statutory agencies or anything like that. But as far as tribal employees, you all usually fall right into that as well, as far as on policy and things. And we're excited to get everybody back this coming Monday. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody from the community calls in, there'll be somebody there to answer that phone.
Absolutely. You bet.
And, of course, Mvskoke Media will be answering ours again.
Mvskoke Media, we'll have those lines lit up.
All right. Now, we're looking at a future where the tribe has really been busy progressing.
Yeah.
That's just one word, progressing. Wow, this is going up. This will do this,
Yeah.
ABC. Now, when we look at the tribe's relationships with other governmental agencies, is there a quick capsule of perhaps of the feds and then the state?
What have our recent communications been like? Or is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, we were really kind of PO'd at the state.
Yeah.
For
Well, absolutely. I mean, we are trying to repair those relationships that have been kind of gotten off to a rocky start. And so with the Oklahoma governor, we've had a couple of meetings here recently. He came down and saw our vaccination process and everything like that. And Chief Hill has been good about, being civil and being diplomatic, but also clearly stating our opinion that we disagree with his assertions on McGirt. We stand for sovereignty, full stop. That's what the Supreme Court has said, and that's what we believe, and that's what we stand on. So, we've gotten some good conversations and dialogue with different stakeholders in the political game, and we've talked to people that truly understand where we're coming from. We've got a good relationship with Speaker Charles McCall, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who has been very instrumental in our gaming fight. And then he's just, that's led to a good relationship to where we can talk to him about the way we see McGirt and the way we see things being implemented and how we don't see eye to eye with some of the agencies that have stated their opinion. Respectfully, not adversarially, but respectfully, we disagree with certain assertions. And so making those, making headway there with those relationships, but also speaking yesterday, in fact, we met with the Native American Caucus of the Oklahoma House. And it was good for Chief to be in front of them and clearly state our objectives and everything like that, but also to let them know some of our wins. So, we've vaccinated over 20,000. We're rolling people right through. We're building infrastructure. We're building economic capacity, but we're also taking care of some things in-house, restructuring our courts, getting more money and more people into Lighthorse, getting laws revamped, being compliant and ready to go with Oklahoma law in certain instances, like with the medical marijuana, and making sure that we've got all of our ducks in a row to make sure and implement this decision. Doing everything we can.
What I'm getting here, and I'm personally glad to see, is that he's carrying the message that sovereignty is the key word there. So,
Sure.
We're here. This was always the law.
Yeah.
All we're doing is just enforcing what is already there.
Yes.
And you guys are going to have to change some attitudes. You've been in charge for so long.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I hadn't done that great a job.
Yeah.
Now we're doing it ourselves, and we're not a threat to you.
That's exactly right, Gary. And I think that's what's been unfortunate to see a lot of it in the media. Not you guys, but a lot of it in the media that doesn't understand this issue. Is that look? We've been acting. The state of Oklahoma has been acting lawlessly for 100 years now, over 100 years now. And I don't say that inflammatorily. I say that as just a matter of fact. They have been in breach of the law, as the Supreme Court has said. And Justice Gorsuch said, in fact, in his opinion, word for word, that just because you act a certain way for a certain amount of time does not mean that it's law. It just means that you've acted that way for a certain amount of time. So for us, that's why it's important for us to, just stick with the law, what it says, and then go from there. So.
All right. Well, we'll jump on the federal subject at another time.
Yeah,
that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, thanks for giving us this update and this information. We sure appreciate you making it happen, and I'm sure we'll be picking on you again.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, well, I can put on a savage face if I need to.
Hey, you know what? You if you're Chief, the way Chief Hill sees it, you don't go out and squawk transparency at the forums if you're not going to do it in practice. So that's what we're here for. Okay, well, thank you, Jason. We appreciate it. And as I say, we'll be talking to you again on a regular basis.
Always appreciate you, Mr. Fife.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
But now we're going to take a short pause here, and we're going to be back with the second half of our program. So please stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio.
Who am I? Am I Indian? Just 'cause I'm a girl from the res, don't make things up about me. What if I move away? Then who am I? Some kids try meth just to escape, but then I think about my grandma, my little brother, my beadwork, my poetry, and I think, I like who I am, and I know meth is not for me.
Check out ncai.org, a message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Spend your weekend with the Tulsa Oilers at the BOK Center this Saturday and Sunday. Come cheer on the Oilers as they face off against division rivals, the Allen American. Puck drops 7:05 p.m. on Saturday night and 4:05 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. Buy tickets today by phone or text 918-632-7825 or online at TulsaOilers.com. Tulsa Oilers Hockey. Fun for the entire family. Tulsa Oilers Hockey this Saturday and Sunday at the BOK Center.
Okay, welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on 1240 The Brew, 106.3 FM, 1240 AM. We are sitting here with Luann Bear, who is the coordinator for the royalty pageant. And also on the line we have Jaden Randall, there we go. And she's going to be joining us. Jaden, are you there? Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I know you're busy over there, but we certainly appreciate you calling in and talking with us here. Okay. Well, I tell you what, hopefully you've got a few minutes to spend with us, so we'll try and get you in quickly and then get out of your way. But Luann Mado, we appreciate you being here. Now, the royalty pageant has also always been one of the feature events of the year for the Mvskoke Creek Nation, and you have some news for us that it will continue to be.
Yes. I'll go ahead and I'll just give some dates, and then we'll let Jaden talk so she can get back to the challenge boat.
Right.
But our first thing coming up is the applications. The applications for Junior Miss and Miss are due by Friday, March the 26th at 5 p.m. And you can go on Mvskoke Creek Nation website, go to the quick links, go down to scholarship pageant, and you can download the application there. You can always come by our office at Youth Services, 700 North Mission. Give us a call ahead of time, and we'll go ahead and print those out for you and have it ready.
Okay. Now, Jaden, I know you're busy, but you've just been serving a term as the Junior Miss Mvskoke Creek Nation. Tell me why you were, first of all, interested in competing for this post, and what did it mean to you? I imagine it's taken up a lot of your time. Mm-hmm. Now, the position also has a lot of responsibility that goes with it. Some people who have never met a Mvskoke citizen, a young person, and they might be making some judgments all based on an experience of meeting you and chatting with you and talking with you. What do you feel about carrying that kind of responsibility? You represent us all. Okay, so no running around kicking up your heels. You got to walk the straight and narrow. Just teasing a little bit. I know it must be hard for young people. Now, you traded a lot of your own particular time and, I presume, a social life and any relationships to take on this post. Now, has that been easy for you? I mean, what we're trying to do is give other young people an idea of, what's really involved here. Oh, that's wonderful. It means you keep a level head and do your job. Now, you mentioned the travel opportunities. I guess you go visit other tribes or powwows or events, things like that? Now, were they curious about you and the Mvskoke Creek Nation? When we think of powwows, we generally think of Plains tribes, and you mentioned a couple of things down there that are lodged in our Mvskoke history there. But when you meet these young people from other tribes, other royalty, do they want to know about the Creeks? And talking with other young Mvskoke young women, what do you tell them about your position here? The responsibilities, I presume, and the pride of representing us. But do you caution them about any other things, like you may have to make some decisions in your life there? Okay, well, I tell you what, we're going to wrap this up pretty quick and let you get back to the Challenge Bowl. But if you had a word of advice that you would like to leave with other young people, or Muskogee people in general about your position there. What words of advice would you want to leave with them? Okay, and you got to be honest about it, huh? Okay. Well, we appreciate you taking time here and wish you the best of success in the rest of your term as in royalty. And we'll look for a time when we might be able to cross trails in person here. Okay. Okay, Luann, that sounds like quite a well-grounded young person. She's well-spoken, knows what she wants in life, knows what she has to do to get there.
Yes.
It would seem like that might be the ideal person for a candidate for these contests, competitions, pageants, whatever.
Yes. Yes, she's really doing well in school. She's already got her college courses going on. I think she's going to be a junior when she starts, and she's a senior in high school right now.
Oh, my.
She's going to be attending ORU, so yes, she knows what she wants. Her platform is literacy, so we're working on all that right now to help her get that out there for everyone. And we just didn't want anyone to be discouraged because, just like she said, when she came in, she couldn't speak out in public very well. Not very well, just that she was intimidating.
A little shy,
Yeah,
but bashful.
Right. It's like that with everyone. But because of her job that she's done, she just jumps in right away, gets things done. She speaks freely now, and it's helped her a lot. And that's what we want these young ladies to know. We're asking for young ladies ages of 14 to 24. And if you don't have public speaking, we help you with that. If there's anything else that you need help with along the way, that's what we're there for. As chaperones, we have a committee. We have several people, from all aspects of life that can help you along.
One of the challenges, I presume, would be the attention these young women might be getting from their male counterparts. Boys looking at pretty girls, in other words. So I presume there's some kind of, you mentioned chaperone, but protection, advice,
Yes.
philosophy.
Yeah, well, some of our rules on that is they can't be cohabitating with a male partner, and they can't be chaperones. You can have a boyfriend, but he can be there but not seen. Put it that way, because really with school and the pageant and your royalty duties, you are busy all the time. Even with COVID going on, just like today, she had 3 things to do for Challenge Bow. She had to be on the radio show. She still has high school classes and college courses to do. So there's not much time, and we don't ask them not to have a boyfriend, but we just ask them, that's going to have to be put on hold for a while because you have a lot to do.
Right, and that relationship is something you need to spend careful time with.
Right.
You mentioned COVID there. Let's take a second and discuss that. Now, has the COVID pandemic affected this particular event at all?
Yes, it has. On the pageant itself, we're trying to follow by what the tribe is going to do, for festival and things. So we talked with them. So at the moment, our plans are, even on the website, it says it's June the 5th, but it is now June the 4th on a Friday. We are going to have it at Faith Church there in Glenpool on Highway 75. And at the moment, it depends on how many applicants we have, but right now they're going to have 5 tickets each to give out to their family. And it's going to be close to the public. We had our first big committee meeting last week, and we're going to have another one on the 16th. But we are kicking around some ideas, and like I said, it's going to be close, just our committee members, our pageant applicants, our judges, very few people, and we won't be able to feed at that time because of COVID. But we're thinking about is like afterwards, building a structure outside, and people can drive by and congratulate them. They can get, we'll be handing out probably cupcakes and drinks because we usually, have a reception afterwards.
Sure.
And that way, at a distance, they can still see them, congratulate them, be a part of it. And then we're thinking on that Monday after the pageant, we get back to work, if it permits, if the girls can be out of school, if they are in school, that we'll have same thing, have a structure set up on the complex. Employees can come by, congratulate from their cars. We'll still give out, cupcakes and drinks. That way, it's just like a parade, but the opposite. They're still and everybody else is driving by. But, we want them to be seen, to be heard, the platforms to get out there, and we're just thinking of ways to do that.
Okay, and we'll caution employees not to drive by twice.
Right.
You only get one cupcake. So.
Right.
Yeah, while we're discussing COVID, will social distancing and masks be required, or?
Yes, at Faith Church, their seats are already divided into fives, so that's why we went ahead and did the 5 tickets per participant, and anyone else that we have come that we can get there, it's going to be just. They're already distanced.
Sure. And
masks are going to be mandatory with everything that we do.
Yeah, it's a pity that, we still have to do that sort of thing, but, if it's going to help out, if it's going to make a difference, then let's do it. Now, the other thing that was on my mind was last year there was a kind of a brief discussion of a major change in the pageant itself, opening up to a sort of what would be a Mr. Mvskoke Creek Nation and Junior Mr. kind of thing, and saying, why just limit it to young women? Let's see if young men were interested. Now, where did that discussion go?
I think that idea came out of public relations, and they wanted a male and female ambassador for Mvskoke Creek Nation instead of the scholarship pageant for the young ladies. And where that went to is a lot of the past committee got together, started talking, and asked for a meeting. And we did have a Zoom meeting, and it was discussed that we already have ambassadors through our youth services group, and they're both male and female, and they've already traveling around. They've been to D.C. and other states and all these conferences, and they have like their youth national council committee going. So we already have all that. So it was decided why duplicate something we already have. So it was talked about and discussed, and it was determined to go ahead and keep the Mvskoke Creek Nation Scholarship Pageant as is, have our Miss and Junior Miss, and then youth services can go ahead and continue on with their ambassadors. And now the scholarship pageant is under youth services. So I'm newly hired as the royalty coordinator, so I am located in the youth services group in their building. So then I can help with the ambassadors on that side, and also I can go ahead and take care of the royalty.
Will you be doing anything to kind of spotlight the ambassadors program? I know it hasn't got as much attention as the royalty, but anything planned or lined?
We're getting things planned. Our first little event, we were going to meet and start talking to them. Everything was supposed to have been this Saturday. We're still trying to social distance, so we were supposed to meet outside and have a fire pit and have some food out there and bring our own lawn chairs and start discussing things then. But now we see that it's going to rain. So we may have to go ahead and change that to maybe the next Saturday. But yeah, we've already talked about it among ourselves, but because they're their own council, they make their decisions. We give them ideas, they bring it up, so it's up to them what they want to do.
Now, you mentioned you had been in a job a relatively short time, right? And I've always been curious why people do things. Like sometimes you take on a job and it's going to be a headache, but they get something out of it that wasn't discussed. But why do you think this kind of event is still important? I know other tribes still do it. They have their powwow queens and Miss Arapahoe and Miss Cheyenne River, whatever. But why is this kind of thing important in these times?
Well, previously I worked for Creek Nation as public relations, and as one of my duties, I was on the committee, and then as one of my duties was being the chaperone. They decided I was already going to those events, so it'd be easier that I chaperone them and they just come along with me. So I really did love that. I went and tried out some other avenues, and then when this position came back, and when it really came to my attention when they brought up the ambassadors. And I was probably one of the main ones going, why are we doing that? We already have that. So I really wanted to get in and get back in there and let people know how important it is for the scholarship pageant to still be there, because those young ladies, and that's what we're going to talk about during the pageant and do things. Where are they now? What have the past done? And, how far they've succeeded. And so the young ladies coming up, they want to be that. They want to be there. They want to get their name out. They want to succeed. We have very, very many applicants in the past that have been Miss or Junior Miss that have succeeded. They're doing so well now. And a lot of it is because of the pageant, because they were chosen the Miss or Junior Miss, and they learned how to speak in public. They met people. I've had people, some of the young ladies meet other people at Miss World, and people have asked that before. Why do y'all go to Albuquerque? Why do y'all, go to the Gathering of the Nations? We're not powwow people. That's where they have met people to get them to D.C., to get them jobs there. You meet people along the road. You never know who it's going to be. Someone knows someone, and then pretty soon they succeed.
I've been a reporter for over 40 years and wandered a lot of this country. And you're right. You always meet somebody who knows somebody or is related.
Right.
I was amazed how many cousins of cousins of cousins were around in Native America. But these young people make these kind of connections and make that first personal impression upon members of other tribes. The chance to do that is, got to be kind of intimidating. There is a competition. Let's face it. You got 5, 10 young women with talent, beauty, and culture, and they all want the same job. So how do you deal with some of that? I mean, does it sort of get a little testy sometimes?
Really not at all these past few years. That's why we started the Royalty Retreat, which this year, after the applications are in, they will meet May the 1st, 9 a.m. at the Dome. And we're going to that's where they all meet each other. And they really become friends because, you're scared, you don't know who to talk to and everything. And you find a friend, so you'll have a buddy. And they start doing that, and they get to know each other. And then when it comes time for a pageant, they're helping each other. They're saying, hey, you need to change this, you need to do that. Here, don't be scared. Don't let them give you a hug before you go. They all start helping each other. So we really don't have that, in testing this in the back, because now they're friends. And we started that a few years ago because of that reason. We wanted them to be comfortable.
Now, the upcoming schedule has got to be, has probably been modified from years past. Big powwows and gatherings like that may not fit in there anymore. But what about, other events? Like I know that our presence in the nation's capital has been important. There's been kind of a Mvskoke festival there for the past few years, on and off. And they get to meet some of the big shots in government. And I don't know, maybe the president or First Lady. Is any of that still on your agenda? Are you going to be taking them to these big spotlight kind of things?
Yes, we're looking forward to that. For Jaden, she hasn't got to travel much this last time because of COVID and everything. So we were even trying to do a personal trip, but because of medical reasons, we decided not to take her out because we don't want her to get COVID, because of that. But we had already talked to national parks like Upmulgee, in Macon, Georgia. We've already talked to Horseshoe Bend. We were going to be able to do some private tours with them. And so they could see the sites and see where they came from and see the different things. So I've already done that, contacted people, got it ready. I did contact DC. All the museums are still closed and everything, but they're getting ready to open. Everybody's making steps. So I think this year will be a lot better. If it doesn't, even Jaden, I said, even if we have to take a trip here in Oklahoma, I'll drive you somewhere. I'll do something with you, and I'll get you out there. She's really big on her literacy program, so we're working on that right now. We're going to talk with Creek Nation, see if we could put a book nook out to the public, where if you have extra books at home and you don't need them, you drop them off. If you need a book, you go pick one up. So, we're doing things to help them with their platforms.
You mentioned in the travel agenda some sites that have such tremendous importance to our culture and our history as Mvskoke people. Down in Georgia, which is the ancestral homeland, and you mentioned Horseshoe Bend. Now, unfortunately, I was unable to make that trip the other year, a few years back.
Yeah.
But in taking Jaden to a place like that, what is it that you will tell her about what happened there?
Well, I'll tell her how it was a betrayal, how they fought, and what just moves my heart just thinking about it is at night when they put the lanterns out of the hundreds and hundreds of people who were killed at that time, it's like, look, that's how many of us that are gone. That they may not even have anybody, a descendant left of them, because that's how many are gone. And it's the truth. We don't learn that at school. So I want them, the princesses, to learn that. I got to go down there, the time that we had the trip down there, and it's moving. It's one of the most moving things that I've ever felt.
Right, our reporters had the same experience, and a couple of them had something even beyond that. So it's such a powerful place. If you had a chance to, let's just go ahead and recruit. If you've got young people who are thinking about it and interested, perhaps, let's review that application process and what kind of candidate are you looking for?
Like I said, they do have to be the ages of 14 through 24 and in school. That's either high school or higher education. And they do have to have the grade point average of 2.5 or higher. And we have the whole list on the Creek Nation website. I'm asking that anyone who's listening, you have family, friends, church people, grounds people, sporting events. You see these young ladies out there, go get me a recruit. That's what I asked my committee to do. I said, every one of you know somebody. We've already got an application. Our first application came in yesterday.
Wow, wonderful.
And we had another one that just called several times. She just happened to be a year too young. So I said, well, get her ready. Let her watch us. We'll take her next year and get ready for us. But we have people interested and ready to go. And who we want is someone just to be committed to us. I jokingly tell the parents when I meet them, I said, she's now mine. She's not yours now, she's mine. But I take her and say she belongs to the tribe, and we have so much fun. You get to know them. I'm friends with several of the past princesses. I even went to the Boston area this year. One of the past princesses went with us because we're friends now. They become adults someday, and we just stay close to each other. And I'm Facebook friends with a lot of them. So I really enjoy the job, and now I enjoy the friendship I made with each of them.
Okay, how would someone get in touch with you?
They can go ahead and call me at let me look at my new cell number. It's going to be, just a second. They can call me on my cell, which is the easiest, and it's 539-286-4695. That's 539-286-4695. And you can go on to our Mvskoke Royalty and our Facebook.
Okay, well, Luann, thank you so much for being with us. We got to cut out of here, so we're going to say Mado to you and thank our listeners for being with us today. Mado. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.